Okay, welcome back to this module. So in this module, we're going to talk about three things that you need to format a really successful video. And it's what we call the hook, the story, and the offer. I'm sure it's something that you've heard before. And if you look at the previous module that I was talking about the videos and showing you some examples, you'll see that people start with a hook when they first start their videos. They have a story, kind of the content of the video, and the offer or the call to action. So I'm going to be giving you some examples of how to do that. It's really simple and straightforward, and what I find is when I'm doing video is that you have a format because you're doing the same sort of thing all the time, or you get into a habit of doing the same thing all the time. It becomes familiar, and this format will change and what you say will change. But what I would say is, if you're brand new, if you're starting with video shorts, just get started. And literally a conversation I had yesterday with somebody was, I do better than you financially online because I just get stuff out there. Your stuff is better. Okay, he's talking to me saying my stuff's better, but I make more than you because I just get my stuff out there. Okay, and it's true. So you just got to get your stuff out there, and like I say, jump out the airplane and build the parachute on the way down sometimes. Right, so let's jump. What I want to show you here, look. Let me get my glasses on. Okay, this is a blog article that I wrote some time ago, some years ago actually. And I was at a conference scribbling notes down. This is what came of it. And essentially, this is how to write. It was a copywriting mastermind or masterclass that I went to about how to write sales pages that convert. And this skill of the hook, story, offer relates to anything. So you can relate it to video. You can relate it to writing emails. You can relate it to writing sales funnels and sales pages. It's always the same. Okay, you just got to take out what you get out of it. So essentially, if you have a look at this article, this is on my blog, johnmclaughlin.com. How to write a sales page that converts leads into sales. Yeah, nice short title there. Okay, so essentially what I've got here is the headline. Okay, so the headline is the hook in your video. So I've got some really good examples and things that you can actually use. Okay, first one, I've got an example there of good old Victor Kiam. If you're of a certain age, okay, back in 1989, Victor Kiam was the guy that I was so impressed with the product, so I went and bought the company. All right, but what he does, the headline number one, if you do X, you guarantee Y. Okay, so let's just play this. This will bring back some memories.
You've never seen a shaver like this before. It's the 3M Surgical Clipper by Remington. Hospitals are now using it, replacing blades to shave patients for surgery safely and comfortably. And you can benefit from this advanced technology at home by using the Remington microscreen. It has two flexible screens that shave you incredibly close. The Remington microscreen shaves as close as a blade or your money back. And the lady...
So essentially, the whole thing. That's just the way Victor Kiam was. He was quite a guy. Okay, but if you do this, I can guarantee that. Okay, now one of the things I always say when it comes to online marketing is you should never guarantee anything. Okay, but one of the things that I always say is that if you are consistent in what you do, I guarantee you'll get some results. Okay, so my usual sort of gambit is if you do something for long enough, if you do something for 12 months, I guarantee you'll get some consistent results along the way, and you'll also learn your trade. So that's one of the things you can say. But if you do X, you guarantee Y. It's a really good statement. It's a really good hook. Okay, the second one, opposites attract. Okay, this is something that you find quite often, probably more often than you find the previous one. So how to attract big for little something. Okay, so how I generated 10,000 leads in 6 weeks. How I generated, remember that video we saw in the previous module, $14,000 in 3 days or something? In 3 days. So big for little, big return, little investment or time. But you've got to be really careful with that. One of the things I see online right now is people saying, if you want to make a load of money, just working 10 minutes a day, then look at my special AI tool, to hook people in. And then when people get hooked in, they realize what they're selling is a load of nonsense. Okay, so you've got to be really careful of that. You've got to be able to justify what you're saying. But again, opposites attract works really well. Okay. Big for little. Okay, if you look at someone like, who's this? This is Instapage. How we generated 30,000 in revenue in less than 2 months. Big for little. Okay, that's another one. Okay, again, controversy. Okay, controversy, that can work really well. It can work well if you understand who your audience is. And this is one of the things when you first get going with your online business, you're not really going to understand who your audience is or what they like or what their wants and needs are. So like I say, jump out the plane, build your parachute on the way down. So your first lot of videos or your first lot of marketing, it may or may not be effective. And in most cases, it's not effective. Okay, and it takes 3, 6, 9, 12 months to be constantly putting information out there to refine what your audience are doing, to let them to understand what your message is. They get to know, like, and trust who you are, and then you can craft your message to them, and in turn you'll develop customers. And that's what it takes. Okay, so you know, if you put controversy out there and it doesn't really work, then obviously you know that your audience is not receptive to it. But if it does work, okay, then you start crafting your audience. So controversy can work. Okay, so one of the things that people used to say is SEO is dead. Okay, people that wanted to promote paid advertising, Facebook ads, or if they were experts in Facebook ads, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, SEO is dead. Okay, and you know, it's not dead, but that's what people used to say. You know, all these different things, and you've got to be quite careful. Like I always say, you've got to be careful with controversy, because you know what you will get with controversy is you'll get a polarizing effect with your audience. Some people will love you, some people will hate you, but in order to get that, they've got to know, like, and trust who you are, and they've got to know that you bring value to the table. Okay, so if you think of Gary Vaynerchuk, when he first got going, when he first got started, he'd already created a massively successful business, and yet what his delivery was, you know, X-rated, okay, in what he said, you know, effing and jeffing all the way. But that's what he did, and he created a polarizing effect in his audience, and now he's starting to mature, or he has matured in what he does, in that he curbs it a little bit, but he caveats it with a lot of empathy and a lot of the things that people are looking for, which people thought it was lacking. So it's all about really understanding your audience and tailoring your message to them without, you know, affecting your brand. Questions, okay? What we used to call this the 5WH when I was back in the police. Okay, the who, what, why, when, where, and how. Okay, asking questions. You know, so things like, how do you enroll 944 paying clients without an email list? Okay, what it does, when you ask a question, it opens a loop. Okay, so you can open a loop in your email subject lines, you can open a loop in your video hooks. Okay, because this is obviously, we're talking about hooks, but the important thing is to close those loops in the body or in the call to action. Okay, or in the information that you're giving. Never give people, and never open a loop and keep it open, because you'll just annoy people. You know, it's like, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and that day, and then the weekend. Okay, so that, you know, that's where we're going to be going on that day. And you're going Friday. Just say Friday. Just please say Friday. Okay, because it's Friday. All right. It's one of those things where if we've got something that's unanswered, the brain goes in search of the answer. And if you don't get the answer, okay, it can be really frustrating. So always close that loop if you're asking questions. You know, where can you find free software that works? Okay, I don't know, but tell me. Okay, so if you don't tell people in your video, then you're going to get people who are disgruntled. People are going to think you're giving them clickbait, and so it goes on. Okay, so headline 4, or hook number 4, fear or pleasure. Now this is something that I always thought was going to end up drifting off, or less people would do, but it's still effective and people still do it. So are you worried about the financial crash? Okay, of course, people, Yeah, absolutely. Okay, tell me more information. Okay, or the shocking truth. This was something that was kind of overused probably about 10 years ago. The shocking truth about email marketing, the shocking truth about social media, but in order to get those sorts of headlines, you would have to justify what you were saying, because if there was nothing more shocking nor anything truthful about what you were saying, again, it was like thumbs down, off you go, son, I'm not interested. But certainly the whatever review, okay, that's really big, because if you're looking at for a product, if whatever it is, if you're looking at the Home Business Academy, the first thing people do will put the Home Business Academy review, okay, in videos. Okay, so if you can do a video short, let me give you one thing I want to take away about this is the Home Business Academy review. Let me just tell you one thing of why I got started in this. Okay, so you can do a number of different YouTube shorts in relation to that, and then lead them on to your longer form content on your YouTube channel. So that's something you can do. Or the insert product scam, this whatever scam, so they work really well as well. Okay, so you're stimulating emotions. And of course the next thing is the body. So let's just go back to this is a lady from that I showed you in the previous module, who was talking about making 12,750 in the last 4 days. So here is, if I can just get the cue right, her hook.
How I have made $12,750 in the last 4 days.
That's her hook. Okay, now bear in mind, when you look at this, she looks like an ordinary lady. Okay, she's got tattoos on her arm, she's not overdressed, she's in a normal looking house, and her delivery, as I said previously, is just informational. Okay, but she's got the ingredients of a really good video. She's got the hook. Okay, now the next thing is the story. So the hook gets people in, gets the attraction, gets the attention. Okay, what's the story?
In the last 4 days. Now don't get me wrong, when I first started affiliate marketing, I was making a couple $100.
Right. She's telling her story. Now the thing is, if you're just going to copy people doing typing videos, as I mentioned before, then you're going to become a carbon copy of all the other people, and you're going to lose credibility by not branding yourself. You can still use that same format or a similar format, but use your own information from Learn, Do, Teach. This is what she's doing. She's doing Learn, Do, Teach. Okay, this is what I did, this is what I learned, this is what I'm going to teach you, and as a result she's got 1 million views on this channel. So the story is really important, and when you start telling stories in your videos, the audience responds in a different way. Okay, you remember when you were at school, when the teacher says, right, boys and girls, sit down, I'm going to read a story. No one goes, oh, it's just awful, I can't stand that story. Everyone goes, yay, fantastic. And you sit down and you end up in that lovely corner of your mind where you can just let it go. Okay, and you can just listen, and it goes off wherever. Okay, it's great. A different part of the brain opens up, and we are so receptive to stories. And that's why for millennia, stories have always been a way of passing on information, and this is what she's doing. Okay, so she's giving a story, she's telling her story, and if you tell your story, that's how you start to brand yourself. Okay, and again, it comes from Learn, Do, Teach. Okay, a lot of people just go learn something, let's learn a carbon copy of how to do typing videos, and then I'll just teach it, okay, without doing it. And you can clearly tell if someone has done something or not. And from here, the way she's delivering it and the way she's saying it, and non-verbal communication on that video, is saying that she's done it. Okay, let's play a bit more.
I was making $500, and it would fluctuate from day.
Okay, so she's telling a story. The next part of the video, she has some instructions on what to do, and the final part is a call to action. Okay, so let me just see if I can scroll a little bit further forward. It's 4 minutes.
Because I'm trying to drive as much traffic as I can to these affiliate links to then maximize the
So she's giving her instructions,
which has now brought me $12,750 in the last 4 days. So if you want to know more, drop your questions below.
Here's the call to action. So she's gone from the hook, she's given the story, she's given the instructions, she's reminded people of the hook, and now she's given a call to action. Okay, so if you want some more information, drop some questions below.
And if you are interested in affiliate marketing, send me a DM. If you're wanting to join me, then I will happily answer all of your questions. How I have made...
And it's perfect, okay? And anybody can do that. If you're watching this right now, you can do this. Really, really simple. Even if you've got to look at something like a reminder, like a little pad that says, okay, intro, call to action, blah blah, story, whatever, okay, and just tell people, look, I'm just gonna refer to this to keep me on track. Here we go. And the more you do it, the more you get used to it. But that essentially is what you want when you're crafting your videos, okay? The hook, the story, and the offer. And there are some great examples of the hook, story, and offer inside of the workbook. So make sure you've downloaded your workbook. If you haven't done it yet, then go to the description below and download that right now. In the next module, I'm going to be talking about how to put your videos together and how simple it can be. Literally, some of the videos that we do take 10 minutes to put together, and literally anybody can do it. Okay, so join me on the next module.